Your support helps us bring you programs you love. Go to wyomingpbs.org, click on Support, and become a sustaining member or an annual member. It's easy and secure. Thank you. To celebrate its 50th year of classical concerts at the foot of the Tetons, the Grand Teton Music Festival commissioned an original piece for orchestra. 20 minutes of music celebrating the landscapes that have inspired climbers and skiers, photographers and nature lovers, including composer Jennifer Higdon.
Well, I love the national parks. I hike a lot, a tremendous amount. I've been through probably 2 or 3 dozen in this country. I've spent considerable amounts of time in the parks. And so I love nature and how you can kind of portray that in music.
Jennifer came out last season. We took a long hike actually, and just for her to become acquainted or become more acquainted with the Grand Tetons. And it was while we were walking there together, talking about the surroundings, talking about her music, and just a few ideas about what her commission, her piece receiving its world premiere this year, would look like.
And I thought, wow, this is an inspiring idea. So I said, yeah, I'd love to.
Out of that, we now have this wonderful work called All Things Majestic.
If you'll look at measure 42.
For the orchestra, learning a new work is a different matter than preparing to perform old classics by Beethoven or Mozart. Even the world-class musicians at the Jackson Festival need coaching to get the nuances of new music.
I always think of music as it's a journey. I always think, okay, we're starting on the first note. I'll see you at the end when we hit the double bar. But as a composer, I'm constantly thinking, how do I make this interesting for the person who's sitting in the audience? I want to hold their attention the entire time.
Higdon is modest about her work as a classical composer and names the Beatles as a primary influence. In fact, she is becoming a world-renowned artist. Higdon is a recent Grammy winner and won the 2010 Pulitzer Prize in Music for her violin concerto. Her presence in Jackson is another indication of the Grand Teton Music Festival's increasing prestige.
It's a remarkable institution, a remarkable orchestra, comprising the finest orchestral musicians in the country. I have been music director here at the festival since 2006. I inherited a superb instrument, and I have been as committed as any previous music directors to giving both the musicians and the audience a balanced, challenging, entertaining, exuberant program.
The festival's orchestra is as unique as its location. Older music festivals like Tanglewood draw musicians from a single established orchestra. But the Grand Teton Music Festival attracts musicians from orchestras all over the world.
And all of these players come and play for a number of weeks here together. In other words, it's like a music camp, except for the finest players in the country. It really is an extraordinary dynamic, and many of us come here to this music festival specifically to be rejuvenated, reinvigorated, and in some ways it's a Peter Pan of orchestras that refuses to grow up.
So the first movement, the Teton range, uses the entire orchestra, but it's primarily the brass that you hear. And then I thought, well, you know, Snake River, wind players can really play these runs, like a snake moving. And so I thought, all right, I'll use the orchestra, but I'll also just highlight basically the winds. You hear them moving together in a kind of an unpredictable pattern, very much like the way the river changes. When you're in the park, it's incredible how you can look at a little bitty aspect of the park. It might be like a little wildflower, and then when you look up, you've got the entire mountain range there. So I tried to make a movement that was about little details, but also a giant picture when you pull back. trying to figure out how to do that in a 20-minute work of music was an interesting challenge. And I think we pulled it off, but you know, I never know. As the person who created it, I'm always like, well, I'll check with the audience. We'll let them decide.
And now enjoy the beauty and grandeur of Grand Teton National Park in the photographs of Ed Riddell, Thomas Mangelson, and Henry Holdsworth, accompanying the debut performance of Jennifer Higdon's All Things Majestic.